How's it going, everybody? My name is LuckyBunz. In today's video, we're going to be going over December Community Day in Pokémon GO. This event is going to be taking place on December 6th and December 7th from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. local time. Now, we're going to have two different sets of bonuses, so let's go over the 2 to 5 p.m. play window first. So during this play window, we're going to have increased encounters with the featured Pokémon. There's going to be different spawns available on both Saturday as well as Sunday. We're going to have a boosted shiny rate of 1 out of 25. We're going to get 3-hour incense, 2 times catch experience, 2 times catch stardust, 1/2 incubator distance, 2 times catch candy, and a 2 times chance to receive extra large candy from catching Pokemon if you're level 31 or higher. Now, additionally on top of that, we're also going to have bonuses available during the entirety of the event, so that's going to be from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. on both Saturday as well as Sunday, and this is going to include encounters with all the featured Pokemon. We're going to get a boosted shiny rate of 1 out of 128 during this time period. We're going to get 1-hour lure modules, and then we're going to get 3 special trades in total, and every trade you do is going to cost 50% less Stardust. So to be clear here, during that 2 to 5 p.m. play window with the increased encounters with those featured Pokemon, that is going to be specifically for that play window. But outside of that time period, so from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. and then again from 5 p.m. to 9 p.m., we're going to have encounters with all the featured Pokemon, doesn't matter which day it is. And again, that boosted shiny rate is going to be 1 out of 128, so it is significantly more difficult to get these Pokemon in their shiny forms, but you can have access to pretty much everything, and this does also include the Comday Classic Pokemon to my knowledge. That being said though, let's go over the featured Pokemon available on both days during that 2 to 5 p.m. play window. So on Saturday, December 6th, we're going to get Carablast, Shelmet, Vanillite, Sprigatito, Fuecoco, and Palmy. Now on Sunday, December 7th, we're going to have Solosis, Flabebe, and then for all the different color variants, red is going to be available in Europe, the Middle East, and Africa. Blue is going to be available in the APAC region or the Asia Pacific region. Yellow is going to be available in the Americas, and then the white and orange versions are going to be available globally, but these are going to be rare spawns. And then we're also going to get access to Pikipek, Jangmo-o, Rookidee, and finally Quaxly. Now the Comday Classic Pokemon are actually going to be available on both days, but only during the last 10 minutes of the hour. So that's going to be from 2:50 to 3 p.m., 3:50 to 4 p.m., and then finally 4:50 to 5 p.m. And then we're going to get access to Machop, Eevee, Totodile, and Ralts. Now for those of you unfamiliar with how Comm Days normally work, maybe you just came back to the game, typically during Community Days we get access to special Legacy Movesets, and so we're going to have access to all these movesets once again for the following Pokemon. Machamp is going to get Payback, Vaporeon's going to get Scald, Jolteon's going to get Zap Cannon, Flareon's going to get Superpower, Espeon's going to get Shadow Ball, Umbreon's going to get Psychic, not Last Resort unfortunately, Espeon's going to get Bullet Seed, Glaceon is going to get Water Pulse, Sylveon's going to get Psyshock, Feraligatr and Quaquaval are going to get Hydro Cannon, Reuniclus is going to get Charm, which is going to be a fast move. Gardevoir and Galate are both going to get access to Synchronoise. Vanillix is going to get Avalanche. Escavalier is going to get Razor Shell. Florges is going to get Chilling Water. Toucannon is going to get Beak Blast. Como-o is going to get Clanging Scales, Corviknight is going to get Air Cutter, Meowscarada is going to get Frenzy Plant, Skeledirge is going to get Blast Bird, and then finally Pomo is going to get Brick Break. Now I'm sure you must be wondering which of these Pokemon are actually worth paying attention to with their legacy movesets, and we'll talk about all of that later on in the video. You can use the timestamps down below if you want to skip ahead to that right now though. Now some of these Pokemon do actually have special evolution requirements which are quite tedious. For example, Pomo requires walking 25 kilometers, Espeon and Umbreon both require walking 10 kilometers normally with Eevee as your buddy, but during this event you only have to walk all 3 of these Pokemon 1 kilometer, and then you can evolve them. For Espeon, you do have to evolve Eevee as your buddy during the daytime though, and then for Umbreon, you have to evolve Eevee as your buddy during the nighttime. Make sure to do that during this weekend because the reduced evolution requirements are going to go away after this weekend is actually over. Now additionally, on top of that, Sylveon is only going to require 7 hearts with Eevee as your buddy. That's a huge one to take advantage of because normally it does take 70 hearts, and that's pretty time consuming. Florges is also only going to require 7 hearts with Floette as your buddy, so again, take advantage of that one as well. And that's pretty much it when it comes down to these special evolution requirements that were reduced. Now we're also going to have a special research ticket available in the shop for $5. You're going to get 1 Rocket Radar, 1 Elite Fast TM, and then 1 Elite Charge TM along with encounters with the Comday Pokemon that were featured earlier this year. This does also include the Comday Classic Pokemon. You can also gift these tickets to your friends, and to be honest, if any of them are just getting back into the game, this would be a fantastic way to help them get some better Pokemon because they're going to get access to 2 Elite TMs. There are so many Pokemon that get massive upgrades once they get access to their legacy movesets, and if you want to know which ones are actually the best to use your Elite TMs on, then you should check out this video right here on screen so you don't make any mistakes. You could also find it linked down below in the description. Now there's going to be a lot of potential PvP Pokemon available during this event, so if you don't have that many builds for the 3 main league formats, Great League, Ultra League, and Master League, you should definitely use this opportunity to grab some. One of the easiest ways to do this is going to be to use the search string on screen. You can check the rankings of your IV spreads on PvPoke using their battle simulator afterwards, and I would encourage you guys to do this after day 1, and then you can just transfer anything else that isn't good. That way you have more storage space available for day 2. Now, of course, with that being said, you're probably wondering, well, which are the best Pokemon to pay attention to then? So let's talk about that right now. And I gotta say this as well, I mean, this year for Com Days, we really had a lot of bad ones. I didn't realize they were this bad until I went through and made this video, but yeah, we don't have that many good Pokemon to pay attention to, so this will be a pretty short list. So first of all, we're going to have Totodile, which was featured as a Com Day Classic Pokemon. This will evolve into Feraligatr. This is relevant in the Open Ultra League in the top 20, so it's a great Pokemon to pick up for that league format. And then also, if you do happen to get some really high level Totodile, you could just evolve them into Feraligatr to have some budget raid attackers for the Water type category. Next up, we have Flabebe. When evolved all the way up into Florges, is going to be ranked in the top 10 for the Open Ultra League and the top 30 in the Open Master League with Chilling Water, which is a great Pokemon to pick up for both of those league formats. Once again, for the Open Ultra League, you want to have typical PvP IV spreads, and then for the Open Master League, you want to have the Hundo. So definitely try to get both of those during this event. Following that, we're going to have Pikipek, which evolves into Toucannon. That's going to be ranked in the top 50 for the Open Ultra League. Then we're going to have Jangmo-O, which evolves all the way up into Como-O, and that's going to also rank in the top 50 for the Open Ultra League. And then finally, we have one of the best Pokemon to pay attention to for PvP. That's going to be Rookidee, which evolves all the way up into Corviknight, and this is going to be ranked in the top 10 for the Open Great League, and it ranks at number 2 in the Open Ultra League. So super good Pokemon to build right there. And yeah, that's pretty much it when it comes down to the best Pokemon to pay attention to, but we do have some additional picks that I would recommend picking up if you want to have some additional play in the Open League formats like Great League and Ultra League. So we have Machop, which evolves into Machamp, and that's going to get Payback. Now this Pokemon used to be more meta relevant before the recent updates, so in the Open Great League and the Open Ultra League it was good to use with Payback, and I'd have to imagine in niche cups, or maybe in the future when the meta shakeups happen once again, this will come back into relevance with Payback. So use this opportunity during this event to try and either evolve a good IV spread that you already have on your Machop into Machamp, or to secure one during this event, and then you guys have a good one ready to go in the future. Next up, we're going to have Eevee, which evolves into Umbreon. This is going to be relevant in the Open Great League and the Open Ultra League. It is much better with Last Resort, but given that you can only get it with Psychic as the legacy moveset during this event, I still think it is worth evolving if you do have extra Eevee to evolve into Umbreon for these league formats, because you never know, it could end up becoming good in the future. Although I will say, like, over time, Last Resort has consistently outperformed Psychic, but in certain scenarios, having Psychic on your Umbreon is actually better. So if you like PvP and you want to have something a little bit different, don't overlook this one. Now we do actually have one more evolution to pay attention to. That's going to be Sylveon, relevant in the Open Ultra League and the Open Master League with Psyshock. So don't overlook this one either. I mean, you do have better Charmers out there for sure, but Sylveon has definitely had its place in the meta. So I would say, grab this one if you can, because it always does require Psyshock if you do want to run it in any of these league formats. Following that, we're going to have Carablast, which evolves into Escavalier for the Open Ultra League, and you do want to have Razor Shell on this Pokemon. And then we're going to have Pawmi, which evolves into Pawmo for the Open Ultra League as well with Brick Break. So once again, when it comes down to all these Pokemon, you don't really have to pay attention to them at the current time of filming this because they're not like that meta relevant, but we have meta shakeups every season, so like every 3 months in Pokemon Go, and the meta gets shaken up so much that these Pokemon that aren't as good right now could end up becoming much better later on. So I would still take advantage of this opportunity if you have a good IV spread on them, evolve them, and get the legacy moveset. That way you don't have to waste an elite charge TM in the future if you do decide to run them or they become very good. And I would say that's a good way to approach this if you do care about PvP. If you don't, you can just ignore and we'll move on. Now we do also have some Pokemon that are meta relevant without their special legacy moveset, so if you do happen to get a good IV spread, it might be worth waiting until after the weekend to evolve them, and that way you can just get them with their normal moveset to use in either raids or for PvP. So first up, we're going to have Machop, which evolves all the way up into Machamp. This is a great Pokemon to build as a budget raid fighting type attacker, and the reason why this is so good is because it benefits as a trade evolution Pokemon. So if you trade Machop with somebody else, you still have to spend 25 candy to evolve it into Machoke, but then the evolution from Machoke into Machamp is actually going to be free instead of 100 candy. You can easily build a solid team of fighting type attackers to use temporarily with just Machamp by itself, and then over time you can work on upgrading them in the future. For example, we just got Keldeo in its Resolute form, and then we just had Terrakion available in Rage of Sacred Sword. I'm sure some of you guys have probably did some of those, but maybe don't have enough candy to actually power it up yet, and therefore Machamp is going to be great to use temporarily until you get your Terrakion ready, or even your Keldeo. Next up, we're going to have Eevee, which evolves into Glaceon. Once again, a 25 candy evolution. You just have to evolve Eevee under a Glacial Lure module, Great budget option to use as an ice type attacker in raid battles. Next up, we're going to have Ralts, which evolves all the way up into Gardevoir. Great Pokemon to use as a fairy type attacker. Sprigatito is going to evolve into Meowscarada. This is going to be a great Pokemon to build as a budget grass type attacker, especially because we don't have a whole lot of grass type options available, or available that frequently in Pokemon Go. Really good Pokemon right there that I think would be easily overlooked. So if you don't have any good grass types, Meowscarada for sure should be built during this event. Suicune, when evolved into Skeledirge, is actually going to be ranked in the top 100 for the Open Ultra League, but it doesn't require Blast Burn, which is pretty interesting. But that's because it got access to Torch Song at the same time. And so yeah, you don't really need to evolve it during the event. After the event would actually be better. And then of course we also have the non-meta relevant Pokemon. So we're going to have Vaporeon, Jolteon, Flareon, Espeon, Leafeon, Quaquaval, Reuniclus, Vanilluxe, and Excelgor. None of these Pokemon with their special movesets are really worth paying attention to in my opinion, but maybe I overlooked something here and you guys can let me know in the comment section down below. But otherwise, I wouldn't worry about these Pokemon specifically during this event. And unfortunately, I do have some sad news to mention. Normally we do have the ability to evolve the previous year's Calm Day Pokemon to get them with their special legacy movesets, but for the first time, it doesn't look like that's actually going to be the case. There was no mention of this on the official blog post unlike previous years, so I'm going off the assumption here that they've actually removed that feature, and going forward we're only going to be able to evolve the special legacy movesets, or sorry, the Pokemon with their special legacy movesets from the current year, not the previous year. Really unfortunate, especially because there's so many Pokemon that I feel like people were waiting to evolve at the end of this year. Like Mankey, for example, was a really great one with Rage Fist, and that's kind of unfortunate, but it is what it is at the end of the day. That's kind of how they're moving forward with the direction of this game. Anyways, that pretty much covers everything I have for you guys in this video. I wish you all the best of luck out there during this weekend, and of course, if you want to check out some more content, I'm going to recommend these two videos next.